Our top story. We have developing news out of Venezuela where the U.S. is claiming to have captured their president, Nicolas Maduro, after a large-scale overnight attack. Well, the sights of bombs going off and sirens wailing, filling the night skies in Caracas. The number of casualties still unclear. The attack comes after months of escalating pressure on Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, who said this week that he was open to talks with President Trump. Today, a state of emergency has been declared. Venezuela's defense minister has called for an immediate deployment of military forces across the country. Now, President Trump taking to Truth Social, saying, quote, the U.S. successfully carried out a large-scale strike against Venezuela, and its leader, President Nicolas Maduro, and his wife have been captured and flown out of the country. He promised more details at an 11 a.m. news conference. Of course, we'll carry that live here on CP24. And U.S. Attorney General Pamela Bondi says that deposed Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro and his wife have been indicted in New York. In a social media post, she said that they will face multiple charges, including narco-terrorism conspiracy, adding that the couple will, quote, soon face the full wrath of American justice on American soil in American courts. Maduro was indicted in New York in 2020, but it was not previously known that his wife had also been indicted. And to help us understand the impact of these strikes and what the future may hold for Venezuela, we're joined live by Donald Kingsbury, assistant professor of political science at the University of Toronto. I don't know if you have slept at all, if this is something that happened overnight and you were kind of glued to your phone. When you first heard about this happening, you saw the visuals of the explosions. What was going through your mind as someone in the political science sphere?
Yeah, and as somebody who used to live quite close to some of the places that are being bombed in Caracas right now, no, I was quite concerned. And my initial concerns were, of course, to try to locate friends and associates. There's a lot of uncertainty in Caracas right now. Of course, the Maduro regime divides opinion, to put it lightly, in Venezuela, and folks are concerned about what the precedent of U.S. military action on sovereign soil might hold. And of course, the United States has made no mystery about its desire to obtain Venezuelan resources, either in the mineral or petroleum sector. And Donald Trump, let's be honest, hasn't had many nice things to say about Venezuelans throughout his time in office or on his campaign trail. So, yeah, it's been a rough morning.
Yeah, and I am also, obviously, I don't have any connections in Venezuela, so I'm not getting firsthand, reaction from people who are living there, but at least online. I'm taking that all with a grain of salt because I don't really know what to believe sometimes, the things that I see. It seems that, on one side, there's people who are upset at what happened, but the others, I'm seeing people literally rejoicing, having parades in the streets. So could you explain to people who might not understand, the rule that Maduro has had on Venezuela?
Yeah, Nicolas Maduro inherited the presidency from Hugo Chavez. Hugo Chavez had been president since 1999 until his death in 2012. Chavez was profoundly popular in Venezuela. He oversaw an expansion of social opportunities, of advancement for the vast majority of Venezuelans, the poor and the marginalized, people who had previously been excluded from Venezuelan society. And so Chavismo, the movement associated with Chavez, remains very popular. Maduro, the president who's been in power since Chavez's death, is not. And that's a very important thing to keep in mind. Whereas Chavez saw the expansion of social welfare benefits, of access to education, healthcare, dignified housing for all Venezuelans, Maduro in recent years has overseen the privatization of those social welfare measures. He's seen the austerity measures imposed sometimes in response to sanctions and blockades by the United States and its allies, but oftentimes in order to benefit his inner circle. So Maduro is not a very popular person, but Chavismo is. So it's a very difficult thing because oftentimes looking from abroad, we'll be trying to find good guys and bad guys, right? But what we have here is a situation in which the United States is acting against U.S. and international law. It is abducting a president who may not have democratic legitimacy, but that's not for the United States to decide. And I think that's one of the main issues that people who aren't who don't have these kind of blinkers on their eyes that just assume once you take away a bad president, everything is going to be okay, are pointing out. We've got two bad actors, and the majority of the victims here are going to be the majority of Venezuelans.
Right. So what is the fallout area? Because the president of Venezuela is in New York, at last check, reportedly being indicted there. So who's running the country? What's happening?
My understanding is we're still waiting for some sort of proof that Maduro, I mean, the Venezuelan vice president, Delcy Rodriguez, has asked for a proof of life. We've got no indication that, we've got no pictures of Maduro in custody at this point. We've got some tweets and Truth Social posts by the president and Marco Rubio and Pam Bondi saying we've got him, using this bizarrely biblical, but they're going to face the wrath of U.S. law as if this is an action film. It's absurd. So first of all, we don't actually know where Maduro or Cilia Flores are, where his wife are. The Venezuelan vice president, or presumably president at this point, Delcy Rodriguez, has said, we don't know where he is and we want a proof of life. What comes next is hard to say. As you mentioned earlier, there's been a full mobilization of the Venezuelan armed forces. Presumably that will also include the popular militias. So these are irregular forces trained in urban combat and guerrilla warfare who are, again, who are not fans of foreign intervention and who are trained to fight foreign intervention. And so there is a question as to what comes next. There's, to my understanding, not currently U.S. troops on the ground, although, again, we're all waiting for information. We don't know if the United States is going to try to parachute in one of its puppets, like Maria Corina Machado, to be president. We don't know what kind of internal intrigue is going on right now within the Venezuelan government or between the Venezuelan military. And in short, we're all glued to our phones, unfortunately. But for the immediate and medium term, it looks like uncertainty. And again, the only people that are going to be suffering from this are the majority of Venezuelans.
Right. Yeah, I'm stuck in the middle. Donald Kingsbury, assistant professor of political science at the University of Toronto. There's so many routes we can talk about, and like you talked about, the trickle effect of what this could be reaction-wise to people in Venezuela. Politically, what does this mean? What does it mean for Canada? You talk about some of the resources Venezuela has, kind of the same ones that Canada has as well. What could it mean for us? So much stuff we could talk about. President's supposed to talk at 11 a.m. We'll carry that live, see what he has to say, and I'm sure we'll be in constant contact. Thanks so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you.